What up? And welcome to another episode of From the Script to the Screen. The My Hero edition of From the Script to the Screen. Episode 23 of Season 6 is out, going over chapters 320, 21, and 22 of the manga, volume 33. Now, you guys saw from the last episode that Deku's classmates are trying to bring him back to the school. They don't like the burden that he's trying to take on upon himself. He feels like the fact that he has, and he's the knife wielder of One for All, that he's the only one that would be able to stop and be able to take control of everything that's going on. But as we see throughout the episode, we see that his classmates feel like it's not something he has to take upon himself. You know, even though they acknowledge that they're not as strong as he is, they do know that they'll be able to help him out in some way. We see and we know that Class A, everybody individually has gotten to where they are by help from one another, even whether it be through Deku or just another classmate in general. Like I always say, one of my favorite themes is the fact that these kids have come together to big each other up, to bring each other up. They've become young, great superheroes by sticking together. One of my favorite panels this week. Throughout the episode, we see the students express their feelings to Deku, how he's helped them, whether it be with personal things or with just their quirks in general. And like I said, how they've been able to work together to just become such great up-and-coming heroes. Even though young, still in school, they've been able to conquer some things as long as they've tried to do it together. And that's what the class is trying to reinforce to Deku throughout this episode. Even though we know One for All is the powerhouse, we know that the students always overcome obstacles together. Their quirks complement one another in certain ways, and we see that they're able to apprehend Deku, and they just want him to know that even though they know that All for One is trying to make him suffer and that he's the only one that's really able to go toe to toe, they know that there's other things that have to be done that they'll want to help him with, and that they are also willing to do everything that it takes and are willing to risk everything to help out the citizens and fix the situation. We've seen an instance of this before, but I loved how the students strung their quirks together to basically reach Deku, with the class president being the last one to be there. Like he says, he knows that Deku from the beginning of the series taught him a very valuable lesson and kind of engraved to him just exactly what it takes to be a hero and what a hero is supposed to be. And that's why he said he's always able and will always be willing to challenge him. Great work by the studio. Shout out to Studio Bones. Shout out to Horikoshi for the panel. You guys could see the kid, like I said, like I had tweeted out, those kids, the boys are very fast now. And we saw just how fast they were going to catch up to Deku. We saw that Deku used Fijin. So of course we know that he was going at a crazy speed at that point. But it was dope to see that, like I said, the students worked together to get to Deku. Of course, one of the important conversations is with Bakugo and Deku. We know that Bakugo and Deku didn't always see eye to eye. Even though they've seen each other as rivals, Deku has always respected him. Can't always say the same for Bakugo. But respectfully, we see him change throughout things as the war was going on. And you gotta respect him. You know, he apologizes to Deku, and somebody that's not always been the type to want to save people. He's always wanted to prove his power. He knows that they have to take care of the situation together. So it was cool to see just that conversation between them two, and a lot of growth from Bakugo, somebody who's usually just ready for action. Now, a very important theme that's also pushed throughout this episode. It's kind of been being pushed throughout the season, since we saw the aftermath with the heroes and how some of the heroes weren't able to deal with the judgment and the scrutiny that the citizens were handing out due to how everything played out. And here, we know just how responsible Deku feels for All For One, the League of Villains, and how he feels that he's the one that has to take care of everything. So we see how the students are trying to emphasize to their friend that even though we know he's the responsible one, that they're there to help him, they'll be there along the way. And we see the other side of the coin when they finally get Deku back to school, that some of the citizens, front and center, don't want him there. They're starting to understand. The Seeker's starting to get out. Deku's the possessor of All For One, the possessor of One For All. All For One is after Deku, so the citizens don't want him at the school. Feel like he's a ticking time bomb. They're not wrong, but they've been guaranteed their safety, and we see just how much security and reinforcements the students, the principal, and the staff has done when the students get back to school. But they still feel a type of way, and who could really blame them when they don't really know everything? But Ochako always stresses that people do have to look out for the heroes. We see how some of the heroes decided to leave work a couple episodes ago because, like I said, they couldn't deal with just how everything played out. So now we see how Ochako is stressing the fact that the heroes do need some type of TNA. They need some aftercare. These are regular people that are just deciding to use their powers for good. So you gotta understand that they suffer too. That's where the episode leaves us. Like I said, Ochako's the front and center of this. So I can't wait to see what happens next week, because we will see just exactly how she feels about it. So let me know what you guys thought about the episode in general. And we'll be back next week. Peace.